The Ballon d'Or. We're talking about football's most coveted, most prestigious, and you know what? Probably its most controversial individual prize.
I mean, think about it. It's the one award that every footballer, from the kid playing on a dusty street to the superstar in a massive stadium, dreams of winning. It's this golden ball that says, yep, for one season, you were the one. You were simply the best. But here's the thing. What does best actually mean?
And that quote, that right there, it just nails it. It gets right to the whole thing. See, this isn't the Golden Boot. That's just simple math. Who scored the most goals? Easy. The Ballon d'Or, though, it's totally subjective. It gets shaped by stories, by media hype, a lot more like the Oscars, really.
So what really goes into winning this thing? Is it just about scoring a boatload of goals? Is it about winning the biggest trophies with your team? Or is it something else? Something you can't really measure, like a captivating story, or just that undeniable aura a player has on the pitch? That's the big question we're going to try and unpack here. Okay, so before we dive into all the drama, and trust me, there's drama, we got to look at the basics first. What are the official rules? Let's check out what the organizers, France Football, actually tell the voters to look for.
All right, so on the surface, the rules seem pretty straightforward. Criteria number 1, individual brilliance and how decisive you were. Criterion 2, what your team won, the trophies. And boom, right there, the debate is already baked in. Which one matters more? Then you've got criterion 3, sportsmanship and class. And this is a big one. Voters are supposed to forget a player's career reputation and judge only that one season. A rule that, well, let's just say it gets tested a lot.
Okay, so that's the rule book. Now let's see how this actually plays out in the real world. Let's imagine a hypothetical race for the award, right? The top contenders, they'd almost certainly represent completely different philosophies. And it's the perfect way to show the award's kinda identity crisis. So first up, you've got the player whose entire case is built on pure, undeniable numbers, the statistician's dream. In our scenario, on paper, you'd have to look at someone like Liverpool's Mohamed Salah, who had an absolutely monstrous season. I mean, just look at the sheer volume of his output, 29 goals. That puts him second across all of Europe. And then a staggering 18 assists, that's the most in any top league. Come on, these aren't just good numbers, they are absolutely dominant. If this award was just about objective, statistical contribution, well, the conversation would pretty much end right here, wouldn't it? But it's not just a numbers game, is it? So let's contrast a guy like Salah with, say, Barcelona's 17-year-old prodigy Lamine Yamal. Now, his case isn't really about raw stats at all. No, his is about magic. It's about a feeling. It's a story that has completely captivated the entire football world.
And this quote here, it just sums up his appeal perfectly. Yamal is the definition of the eye test. He's that player who makes you jump out of your seat. In an age where football can feel so tactical, so min-maxed, his pure joy and his audacity, it feels like a throwback. He might not be topping the goal charts, but you feel his impact in every single match he plays.
And then there's a third type of candidate. This is the one who combines pretty good stats with an absolutely irresistible narrative, the redemption arc. And in this hypothetical season, that story belongs to PSG's Ousmane Dembélé.
I mean, just think about his journey for a second. This is a guy who was labeled a flop, rebellious, a total diva. But this season, he puts all of that behind him. He finds this electric form and he leads PSG to a historic treble, including, get this, their first ever Champions League trophy. It's literally a Hollywood script. And you better believe those kinds of narratives are incredibly powerful when it comes to voting.
So there you have it. The statistician, the magician, and the comeback king. Each one represents a completely different idea of what the best player even looks like. And that right there, that brings us to the fundamental conflict at the very heart of this award. This really is the great divide. On one side, you've got the purists. They're arguing for cold, hard objectivity. For them, the player with the best numbers wins. Period. End of story. But then on the other side, you have the romantics. They're arguing for impact, for magic, for the player who created those unforgettable where were you when moments. And this quote explains perfectly why this debate is so relevant right now. Think about it. For more than a decade, Messi and Ronaldo were just so dominant that their insane goal and assist numbers became the main and, let's be honest, sometimes the only deciding factor. Now, in this new era, we're being forced to kind of recalibrate and reevaluate what greatness even looks like. Yeah, and this chart just shows you how subjective best can be. Okay, so if you value creating chances for your teammates, you look at this metric, right? Big chances created. But wait, who's the leader? Well, you've got Yamal, Elise, and Salah all pretty much locked together. So even with a single stat, there's no clear winner. And someone else could just turn around and argue that the real best player is the top goal scorer, who isn't even on this chart. See? Best completely depends on which metric you decide to champion.
And look, this whole stats versus stories thing, it's not even the only controversy. Not by a long shot. There's a clear attacker bias. I mean, a defender hasn't won this thing since 2006. There's a huge European bias. It's supposed to be a global award, but it's basically impossible to win if you don't play in a top European league. We've talked about narrative power and how it can totally overshadow stats, and there's even a real concern about the pressure of giving the award to someone super young. Honestly, each one of these could be its own explainer.
So, all of this brings us right back to the ultimate question. After looking at the rules, the different types of contenders, and all these debates, where do we actually land?
Because at the end of the day, the choice for a voter isn't really just between Dembele, Salah, or Yamal. It's a choice between these competing philosophies. So the question is, are you a statistician, a storyteller, or are you somewhere in the middle?
And you know what? Maybe that's the whole point. The winner doesn't just tell us who the best player was. It tells us what we, as a footballing culture, decided was the most important thing in that one specific season. Was it raw production? Was it a fairy tale narrative? Or was it an incredible story of redemption?
So as that ceremony in Paris gets closer, the real question isn't just who is going to win, but what kind of winner they're going to be. Because the Golden Ball shows us that greatness can be measured in hard numbers, or it can be felt in those unforgettable moments. So I'll leave you with this. Which one do you believe matters more?